Welcome back to the Hammy Show, presented by Bulldog Illustrated. Thank you so much for joining us once again. We've got a super special guest, a damn good dog, and now a dirty bird. It is Charlie Woerner. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, man. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I just want to jump right in and kind of get some backstory. So let's go all the way back to Rabun County. What was it like playing at Rabun County and then getting to come back to the University of Georgia, play in the state you were born in, and now back with the Atlanta Falcons? All your roots tie back to here. So what does it mean to start at Rabun County?
Yeah, no doubt. It was definitely man, I'd call it a privilege to grow up in Raven County and to experience that childhood and to be able to play with some of my best friends growing up at Raven County High School and to do that and it was such a joy. It was so much fun. Just the small town Georgia football is just so fun, and so that was awesome. And then, man, just to to get the offer to go to Georgia, have that experience again was truly another privilege and a joy. Definitely hard at times, man, but it was worth it. Really good football team. It was a lot of fun. And then, the career arc to go to the 49ers, get drafted there, and to now come back and play, for the Falcons again, a team that I watched growing up, man, to be able to play for them. And it truly is it's a joy, it's an honor, it's a privilege. It's so cool to be back closer to family more often. And I'm just so thankful for it.
Yeah, totally. That's amazing. So you mentioned, getting that offer. What was kind of your recruitment process and what did it look like?
Yeah, I mean, small rural Georgia football. I don't know, I had pretty low expectations for myself. I knew I wasn't playing 5 stars every Friday night, super talented guys and definitely had some good football in 2A. But wasn't expecting much. And then finally kind of out of nowhere to me, sophomore year, Mark Rick brings me on the G before the Kentucky game and offers me my scholarship right then and there. And I was just like, I think I said something like, "Hey, I got to go ask my mom." Like I was just like, "You're joking, right?" And then once you get a big D1 offer, a lot of them kind of start trickling in after that. And I definitely tried to look at a few schools. I really just looked at Alabama and Clemson and Georgia. End up, I always wanted to go to Georgia anyways. I was a Georgia kid and a grew up a Georgia fan, but I didn't enjoy the whole recruiting process a lot. I didn't like the whole lights on me.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. But I'm more of a behind the scenes kind of guy. But yeah, that was it. And I chose Georgia. I think going into my senior year. So that was the recruiting stuff.
Awesome. So did your uncle being UGA royalty, did that
Mhm.
play a part in your decision? And obviously, I mean, you growing up as a Bulldog, but was that part of the commitment?
I would say I almost didn't want to go to Georgia because I kept hearing that. People, reporters are like, "Are you going to go to Georgia because your uncle?" And I just got tired of hearing that. Um, I was just a Georgia fan, man. I used to say I kind of didn't think I was, and then I look back at pictures from my childhood, and I'm like, oh wow, I got a Georgia shirt there, Georgia shirt there, Georgia hat there. So I was a Georgia fan, man, and obviously my uncle, he was like, hey, try make your own decision, like he
Yeah.
did. But it definitely once I got to Georgia and kind of feel like I got in the groove there, I was like, okay, I think it is cool that I'm getting to play where my uncle played. I don't think I appreciated it and respected that until I got there. How cool that was.
Yeah, totally. So did anything really change once Coach Smart came on versus you originally getting your offer from Coach Richt and then obviously you come in his first year,
Yeah.
but was it there any differences or any flips in mind?
Not really. Kirby was my recruiter at Bama too, so I already knew him pretty well there. He was my recruiter. He had his mom and dad lived in Raven County, so he was my recruiter. I already knew him really well. Had a good relationship. And then yeah, the Rick staff got fired that January or whatever my senior spring. So I was just like, I already knew Kirby, and I love Georgia, so I was just gonna stay committed to it.
Yeah, totally. So flash forward to once you get here. I know I talked to you many moons ago, it feels like, but on your
Mhm.
front porch living with Jake Fromm and
Yeah.
Tony Losi and all those guys. So, living with Jake, was that a positive, a negative? I mean, obviously it had to have been a positive, but just a tight end to quarterback relationship, living in the same house. What was that friendship like? Translating it from the house to the football field.
Yeah, no, great question. I mean, me and Jake are best friends today. We trained together in the off season in Athens. I mean, both of our wives are close. They played volleyball together. I mean, me and Jake were roommates right when he got there. He early enrolled, and I was going into spring of my freshman year. We were roommates day one, and I think McWhorter Hall over there. And so, yeah, me and Jake's relationship, obviously, like any relationship, we had some ups and downs, but man, we grew so much through college, and we talk about it today how much we grew together through the ups and downs together, and we're just so much stronger for it, man. We call each other all the time, just for whatever. I mean, it don't matter what it is. We're good buddies, and man, I love the guy to death, and thankful that I got to have him, and man, even to like you said, Tony, man, I got to have Tony as my roommate and get to know him, and we're still good buddies too, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So, I know, like we said, y'all's relationship was amazing, and y'all are best friends to this day. But this is no disrespect, maybe a little flack to Jake, but one touchdown in college, your whole career, your last game against Tech in Atlanta. So,
Yep.
I mean, Jake, was he really looking out for you on the field?
I give him a hard time still sometimes about it. I don't. I I feel like I had three coordinators, at least two or three in my like time span at Cheney and I don't know, but I think Jake would have loved to throw it more. I don't know, but I mean I was kind of that blocking role behind Isaac. So I mean Isaac was kind of catching more of the balls and Isaac Nada. So but I give him a hard time about it, but it is what it is, and I'm thankful to still be kicking it in the NFL 5 years later. So I'm very thankful.
Heck yeah. So I know that touchdown must have been amazing. What's going through your head? It's against Tech, the arch nemesis. What is in Atlanta, which is now where you are, a lot of kind of tiebacks to that first touchdown, but what's kind of going through your mind as you score that first tutty?
Man, to be honest, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I can remember it's probably the first picture you see if you look up Charlie Woerner touchdown Tech is me on my knees looking up, and I can remember the first thing thinking was the Bible verse I read that morning was Psalm 46:10, and it was "Be still and know that I am God." Like I can really remember that in my head right now, and I just fell on my knees, and then I'm just like, "Thank you, Lord, for this moment." It's been 4 years in the making, and thank you that you are who you are. I don't know, I'm just a very thankful and humbling moment to myself and with my Creator. And I think the next person that got there was Tyler Simmons, and then Jake got there, and it was just a big celebration. Once I got to the sideline, I don't think many guys knew that was my first touchdown ever in my college career. Like, it's your first ever? I was like, yeah, man. Like, I ain't caught many balls at all in general. So it was a cool moment.
That is very cool. Very cool. So I mean, you came to Georgia really or you were a part of the team really at the turn of what the Georgia football program is now. That 2017 national championship run year was just something out of a movie, and you got to be a part of that, and then the success that followed in the years after. But I mean, it's largely credit to Coach Smart and the culture he's built here and everything like that. Well, do you have a best Coach Kirby Smart story from your time at Georgia?
Gosh, man, there's a lot of them. I can remember the dog days of my first training camp when they were building the indoor at the time, and we were practicing out there on Millage out those I don't even know what they're like some sports. It wasn't intramural. It was like sports complex, kind of across from where they're building the track at or whatever. But I just remember some of those moments, just him, just I thought I was gonna die on that field, man. They had solar panels out there. I felt like it was 120 degrees on that field, thinking I was gonna die. Him yelling at people. That was my first like wake up to like this is college football. I might die out here because I'm a mountain kid and it was never that hot up in the mountains. And
Right.
I would say another one is just I mean everyone's heard those. those whoever leaked it, those pregame speeches were always pretty intense from Kirby. And but no, really, I really enjoyed getting to know Coach after growing with him for 4 years. I saw him change a lot from my freshman year to my senior year, and having those end of the year meetings with him and just having those conversations with him meant a lot to me. Just talking to him as a man to man as I got older, and it was really really got to know him more and more.
Yeah, totally. So how does his coaching style sort of translate to the NFL and prep you guys for the success in the men's league?
Yeah, I would say. Can you hear me still? I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
say. I'd say he just puts such a playing for him and puts such a sense of urgency on you, and the discipline that he instills on the entire team. Sometimes it was annoying because I'm like, look, like I'm a pretty disciplined guy, but you have to treat everyone kind of the same. But whatever, that's beside the fact. He treats the ultimate like you have to have so much discipline and the urgency, and so I think the guys that hold on to that, who learn that from him and take it to the NFL, it really helps. And obviously, you've seen some who don't take those two characteristics into the NFL with them, and it hurts. But you can take those in, man. I feel like you're just a step ahead because the NFL, man, it's just so. It's not for long. It's dog eat dog. It's really competitive, really hard. And so if you can come in there with just an urgency above other rookies, above other guys, and just a discipline to have a routine, to have a just a method to your madness. It's big time for you. So I think if you can learn those two things from him and take them with you when you go.
Yeah, exactly. I totally get that. Not firsthand experience, of course, but you can see it among all the Georgia players that are in the league now. But so we'll go into the NFL. Let's start with the draft. You get drafted in the sixth round to the Niners. What is that night like? Walk me through kind of the whole process that weekend and where you were, who was watching with you. I mean, all the details if you can.
Yeah, great question. So it was COVID. So it was COVID of April. COVID hit what March Madness. So about a
Yeah.
month into COVID, month and a half into COVID, whatever. But I didn't care. We had like 30 people over to my parents' house, just having I'm one of seven, so we had all my siblings there, hanging out at my parents' house where I grew up, and we live, pretty not crazy in the sticks, but in the sticks in Raven County, and so we're sitting there. I'm not really. I'm hoping to get drafted. Right, my agent says, "Hey, you're a late round pick, maybe." All right, cool. I don't really know what team. I'm just kind of sitting there. And so here comes the sixth round. We're just, been playing around all day on Saturday. And here comes the sixth round. Nothing happened the fifth, sixth rolling around. And I look down at my phone and I see two missed calls. The funny story about this is the phone thing. I bought a phone from eBay, right? Because I didn't have all this NIL money these kids got nowadays. Bought a phone off eBay and looked down at my phone and have two or three missed calls. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I just take Sydney's phone, my wife, I take her phone, call the number back, and they pick up immediately. And I'm like, hey, this is Charlie. And they're like, I don't remember who it was, to be honest with you. Who's someone on the front office at the Niners. And they're like, hey, Charlie, we're trying to draft you. I'm like, I'm ready. Yeah, I was like, I'm here. And then like 30, well, he's like, well, we're drafting you right now. I was like, oh, sweet. And then I see my name pop up on the TV. So they'd been calling me for a minute or two saying they're about to draft me. I wasn't getting the calls were like kind of just dropping because the service is really bad out in Tiger, out Bridge Creek where I live. And so I get all those missed calls, call back on my wife's phone, they draft me. And then they FaceTime immediately after with Kyle, with John Lynch, with a couple more upstairs people. And again, the Wi-Fi is terrible. I can't hear them or hardly even see them. And they're screen recording all of it. So like the next day, I see Niners fans are upset because Charlie Woerner doesn't look happy in the FaceTime. I'm like, I can't even hear anybody. You know what I mean? I'm like hiding in the bathroom where the service is okay. It was just a big mess, but it was a lot of fun. Super thankful to have gotten drafted by them and had that career, my 4 years there with them. But it was really cool to have my family there to celebrate. And to, just man, I never thought being from where I'm from, I would have had that opportunity. So it was a lot of fun to celebrate with those who meant the most to me.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is so cool. So, since you've been in the league, you've appeared in 2 Super Bowls with the Niners, and
Just one, just one.
oh, you were just okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I wasn't there in 19. I got drafted in 20. I played in
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
three NFC championships and one Super Bowl.
I forgot because it was the 20 Super Bowl, but it was the
Yeah,
19 season. So you've
yeah.
been around for one.
Yeah.
Needless to say, you were a huge part of that team last year. Purdy steps in the year prior and does balls out, and you've got CMC, you've got these studs all up and down the roster, and you get to play alongside those guys. Not only what is it like playing alongside them, but going to the promised land and playing in the big one.
Yeah, I mean, it was besides those guys being superstars, man. Those were some really good dudes, really good men. Thankful to have been called, to be able to call those guys my friends and to continually go out to practice together, with those guys and suit up for all those games and through the playoffs and all that, and just to be able to hang out with those guys and their wives off the field, man, it was really truly special. And I really did enjoy my time with those guys, that locker room, with that team. It was a special group. It was a lot of fun. Um, yeah, really, it was tough to the whole off-season contract negotiations. It was tough to say goodbye because I really did miss. I enjoyed my time with those guys. It was really cool, really special.
That's
And
amazing.
it was cool to finally, like you said, they go into the very end of the season, making it to the big dance with those guys was, it's cool that everyone worked so hard, and that team deserved it.
Yeah, for sure. So now you get traded to the Falcons, and you're considered a vet. You're a leader in that locker room, and especially in the tight end room, a star-studded tight end room, obviously with Kyle Pitts and stuff. So what is kind of like taking it on that role and being sort of a guy that maybe some people lean on, and also being the guy that's had that experience in the postseason, whereas a lot of these Falcons haven't. What is that? How are you going to translate, your time with the Niners to the Falcons and looking out for the dudes that are in your locker room now?
hmm Yeah, I mean, when I made my decision to sign with the Falcons, I knew I could provide. I mean, not that I'm going to go in there and change the world, but just provide a work ethic and just I don't know, just a determination to always be giving my best in practice and meetings. The kind of what I was talking about earlier with the Kirby, like the urgency, the discipline, just bring that and help out guys that maybe don't know, how to practice or how to do meetings and all that stuff. And again, the Falcons was a when I signed, when I made that decision to sign the Falcons, the Falcons roster was a very good roster. So don't, people, because I've gotten that question before. And I was like, look, the Falcons roster was ready to go win a Super Bowl, especially when they signed Kirk. It was like, this roster is ready to go. So I was, number one, thankful to be a part of that roster, that we have a chance to go win a lot of games. But, at the same time, yes, they're the young guys, the guys who maybe still don't know their way. I just, from day one, I tried to show up and do what I always do, and I think I've been able to make an impact on the team.
That's so cool. So, we talked about it a little bit before I press record, but it's obviously back home. You're in the Peach State once again, closer to family, like you said, and y'all have gotten to play some pretty badass times, some prime time games, and the Benz has been packed out for it. What's it like playing in sort of a hometown crowd and having family there, friends there? And winning some football games. I mean, it's got to be the coolest feeling in the world.
Yeah, it is. It really is cool to it's cool. It's easier to appreciate the fact that since me and my wife have been out 2,500 miles away from everybody for 4 years, two of which were COVID and the whole vaccine year. So like, you know, a long 4 years of really not having many family or friends coming to games, unless we played on the East Coast. But yeah, it's cool to have family come to games. I think that first Steelers game, I think I had like 14 people there. It was really cool. Just so cool. Especially I have some young nieces and nephews, and to have them there, to hopefully they're 6, 5, 6, 7, to have them remember these games. If my career is done tomorrow, my son won't remember any of this because he's only 2. But like fact that my nephews will remember some of this stuff is really special to me, and it's cool to have my family down there. All my siblings, because everyone's within 2 hours of Atlanta. So it's definitely cool, and it's fun to hang out with them after the game, so I can let all the traffic leave, so I can maybe make it back in like an hour. Because tell you one thing I didn't miss and I've never enjoyed is Atlanta traffic. So
Yeah.
that's not ideal, but we deal with it.
Yep, totally. So I don't know if you can answer this, but what are your expectations for the Falcons this season?
Well, expectations that we have on ourselves is to win the South. So we're 2-0 right now. We've beaten the Saints and Bucks. We got the Panthers this Saturday, or I'm sorry, this Sunday. I mean, man, it's about winning the South. If you win the South, you win your division, you're in the playoffs. So I mean, you never know what can happen in the playoffs. I mean, we've seen what was that back in like 2012 when the 8-8 Giants beat the undefeated Patriots in the Super Bowl? Like you don't know what can happen in the playoffs. So
Right.
expectations to win the South and get into the big dance and see what can happen in the playoffs, man. You never know.
That's awesome. So I always do a little speed round, just quick hitters, hard pressing questions that everybody wants to know about Charlie Woerner. So first off, favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? Can I do a show?
Yeah, yeah, you can do a show.
I'll do a movie and a show. I'll do a movie. It's got to be Remember the Titans. Show. Man, actually, no, take that back. Friday Night Lights, the movie, and the Friday Night Lights show.
Yep. Two are all
I'm not
three
ashamed
great
of that
picks.
either. I'm not ashamed of that by taking Remember the Titans though.
Yeah, no, not at all. That's a classic for sure. All right, next one. Favorite food.
Uh, I just got to go with red meat, man. I got to go with some steaks. And gosh, it's just how can you beat it? Too good. We grilled steaks tonight.
Yep, love it. And if not football, what sport would you play?
Probably I probably would have gone the discus route on track and field. That or I was too slow. I couldn't have made hurdles. I did hurdles in high school too, but probably discus. I probably would have like done that year round and gotten a lot better at it than I did.
Yeah,
I won state for 2A in Georgia, but I wouldn't have competed with like the 6A schools, but
right.
if I did it year round, maybe. So I don't know.
There you
Probably that.
go. An
Yeah.
Olympian, maybe.
Maybe.
Olympian
I don't
Charlie
know.
Woerner.
I'm tall, so who knows?
Yeah, there you
Got,
go.
got the leverage to sling that thing.
Yeah. And to close out speed round, do you have a quote that you live by, that you know, write on your wristbands, eye black, something like that that has always stuck out to you throughout your career?
I don't have one single one. No, I've. It's a great question because uh, you know, male leaders in my life kind of have their little thing that they either have behind their work desk or like your desk behind you, like they got something. And I've been trying to get mine. I don't know what it is yet. Mine usually kind of cycles through what Bible study I'm doing or what verses I'm trying to memorize at the time, and it's kind of seasonal for me what I'm working through or what I need in my life at that time. So mine kind of cycles through Bible verses, but I definitely am looking for that rock that I kind of always got behind me on my desk or whatever. So I'm
Yeah,
getting there.
I love it. I
I'm
love it.
getting there.
Yeah, totally. You got to live a little to figure it out, I guess.
No doubt, man. Yeah, yeah. Most of the guys in my life that have theirs, it's like they didn't get them until they're like in their 30s. So I got
Yeah,
some time.
exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know if you saw this today, but at prior to this recording, for the people that listen, however long down the road, but today at the University of Georgia campus was your quarterback, Kirk Cousins,
Hmm.
and his I think his wife was speaking at a class. She's a Georgia grad, but there's a picture posted on Georgia football's Instagram of him admiring the Charlie Woerner jersey framed in the office. So,
Yeah.
what can he say about that? I mean, he's paying homage to a legend, a damn good dog.
It's a Michigan State guy just looking at greatness. He's looking at greatness at UGA. He's trying to understand what goes on between the hedges,
Yeah,
what goes on those practice fields and in that facility. So he's looking at that jersey, just looking at grit and trying to figure out how he can have more grit about himself. So I'll
I love it.
I'll tell that to him myself too.
There you go. I love it. So obviously you and Kirk come in together this year. What has he been like as a leader in that locker room? Somebody you can lean on, somebody that is just, obviously done so much for the Falcons in his short career
Yeah.
thus far. But last week's game, Thursday night game, he goes off, sets the record
Yeah.
for the most pass yards. So what is it like playing with him?
It's great, man. Kirk is everything you want in a leader and a quarterback. He took over from day one in spring ball through everything he's done. I mean, it's kind of the stuff that I hinted on earlier that I try to instill and meet people and from what I've learned. He's done that day one. He's I don't know what year he's in, 13 or 14 or whatever, but he's demands everyone's respect. And he's just very urgent in everything he does. He's very detailed. And he makes everyone play up to his level. He brings everyone up around him. And he's always giving his best, man. Like, I mean, he's always in the film room, always doing everything he can do for this team. And he's just a great teammate and a great man too. He's a strong believer in the Lord. He's a great father. He's a great husband, and he's everything you'd want in a quarterback for your team if you're paying him money. I mean, how would you not want to make an investment in a guy that's just great all around, not just football? So if I was a GM, I'd pay him, and man, he's just a great guy, really good teammate and a good friend.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love it. Love that he's leading the Falcons now.
Yeah.
So I got a few more questions and we'll wrap this up. I don't want to keep you too long, but um, there's so many Georgia tight ends in the league now. Would you consider yourself a member of Tight End U? Is Georgia Tight End U now as of recent?
I, Georgia has some good ones. I can't give it to Georgia though. Even though there's what, three or four of us, five of us maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know, but it's got to go to Iowa. I just can't. I would if I tried to argue against my former, teammate George Kittle, I would lose. Iowa has too many good ones. Like just the numbers don't lie on how many
Yeah.
Iowa has. It'd be tough. I think Georgia is up there, but I think I hate to like down my alma mater, but I can't crown on myself or I can't crown UGA.
No, it's tough to go against Iowa. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously.
you got Iowa, Stanford, Notre Dame. They have a lot of tight ends coming out of those three schools.
Yeah.
A
As
lot.
of recent though, I mean the dogs from you moving forward, Isaac, Trey McKitty, obviously, then most recently Brock and Darnell. And I mean,
Yeah.
we're getting there maybe. I mean
We're
it
getting there. We're getting if it stays consistent, we're getting there. It's just you could go back 10 years for Stanford, 10 years for Notre Dame,
yeah.
and just keep rattling them off. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
But we're getting there. We need 5 more years of what we've been doing.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, so two more questions. First, the man who set this up, our good mutual friend JD Daniels. Obviously he's always taking you hunting, fishing, you're taking him hunting and fishing. But what is it like hunting and fishing? Like, is that just your release from football? What does that do for you in everyday life on the field? Is it just the best hobby in the world for you?
Yeah, it's not even a hobby, to be honest with you. I would say with most people who are truly passionate about it and just raised up in it, it's just I've started to just say it's like a way of life. To me, I can't ever get rid of what hunting and fishing is to me and what I eventually want to do with owning property eventually one day and just to be a gamekeeper and to take care of my property to see the joy and having other people come on my land and hunt and fish. But no, it's a way of life to me of getting out in the woods or going fishing or whatever and truly seeing the joy that it gives other people when they go for their first time is so cool. And I haven't gotten to do a lot of it, obviously, with football, and I got to do a lot of duck hunting in California. Actually, which is a lot of fun, but I don't get to do as much as I like to. I get to do it in the spring for turkeys and stuff, but man, it means everything to me to be able to go do it. It's 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 a release, but it's also just it's such a drive too, to where I can become obsessed with it if I have too much time on my hands. So it's everything to me.
That's awesome. And so to close this out, I always ask this question to finish it off. What are your predictions slash projections slash expectations for the University of Georgia 2024 team?
Hmm. Um, Put me on the spot. People. I feel like if you say anything other than win the national championship, Georgia fans will hate you. They'll get mad at you. But I would say humbly, and I would say this. I could see us having two losses, still being top 10, making the playoffs. Because I'd hate to see us, whether Texas, whatever, win or lose. But you got Texas and you got SEC championship, which I don't even know how the SEC championship works anymore. You might have to tell me because there's no East and West anymore. But whatever, we could be two loss, but I see us playing in the championship, and I don't know who we're playing against. But I see us maybe being a two-loss team, making that somehow around the 9, 10, 11 spot and making it to the championship game.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's so
I feel like
weird.
that's realistic too. I mean,
Yeah, totally.
you
It's
know,
so weird now, like without the East and West, obviously, but like it's the best two records. But if there's, I mean, it goes to head to heads. And then if there's two teams that have, I mean, which the SEC as of last weekend and the hectic weekend with Vandy upsetting
crazy. Yeah.
Tennessee, all that stuff, I don't know what they get to after head to head and records because then I guess it's just like points for and points against. I have no idea.
You're
It's
just
it's beyond me.
you're gonna have like 3 or 4 SEC teams probably with what they're gonna be like 8-1, or how many SEC games play 9? They're gonna be
Yeah,
like
9. Yeah.
not 7-2 or 8-1. I mean, I don't know. You're gonna have at least 3 of those, and it's just gonna be like a long list of how do you get the 2. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
it's
weird.
crazy. It
Yeah.
is crazy. Well, that's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
This has been awesome. You're the best for doing this and your busy schedule. And obviously, go Dogs, go Falcons.
Go Dogs and go Falcons, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been the Hammy Show with Charlie Woerner. We'll see you next time. Thank you again.